Welcome back to the channel as I continue to update my prospect rankings for the 2024 NFL draft class. I talked about offensive tackles yesterday, and I'm going to stick with the hog mollies and talk about my top 10 defensive tackles in this draft class, but stick with me until the end because I'll talk about some of the guys who just missed the cut on my list. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know so, go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below where we have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Let's go ahead, get into this sucker with number 10, McKinley Jackson out of Texas A&M, coming in at 6'2", 325 pounds. He was formerly a four-star recruit from the 2020 class, and then when he got to A&M as a freshman, he played in all 10 of their games in the shortened season. With one start, did make the SEC all-freshman team, and then the following season got more involved in the lineup with 4 starts, did miss a couple of games because of injury. But then last year, played in 8 games, 7 starts, kind of a breakout year for him. Did miss some games due to injury. This year, he has been the full-time starter every game, a guy that just eats in the middle, and he's been solid, man. 8 pressures, might be 9 pressures for 4 sacks. Does have 8 defensive stops. And you watch him and it's like, he does not look 325 pounds. He just doesn't. And I'm not saying that because he's small, but just the way he accelerates and he just moves like a man that's 40 pounds lighter. Just so explosive, great first step, scary closing speed. He combines that good first step with a variety of finesse moves, and you like seeing his toolbox as a pass rusher. I mean, the dude has this nasty spin move as well, but it's not like, okay, he's a big guy that plays light, because he's got a strong anchor in the run game. Like, he shows good gap discipline. He's able to stonewall blockers and kind of create those pileups in the middle. I do want to see a little bit more activeness from his hands, because there are times he just kind of like, he does just get stonewalled, and he's just kind of there eating space. Handling double teams is kind of hard. It's okay, could be better. And I just want to see that production catch up with his athletic traits. Really, really do. He's on pace to clear 400 snaps this season, which was kind of a concern because he's never eclipsed 400 snaps in any given year. But I had him, I think he was a 3rd rounder for me going into the year, and I got him about the same spot as of right now. But let's go ahead and move to number 9, and I got the Godfather from Cincinnati. I got Dante Coon. Yeah, coming in at 6'2", 318. All right, this cat was a former 3-star recruit from the 2021 class. Redshirted his freshman season, and then he played 11 games with 1 start. Did miss the final game because of an undisclosed injury. But I remember watching his tape this summer because he's got limited. Well, outside of this season, he has limited play against Power 5. Now that Cincinnati is a Big Ten team, he's starting to get more of that opportunity. But I went to the Arkansas game because that was the most impressive team he faced last season. The next one was Indiana, who he just unloaded on. But it sucked because Arkansas was kind of his debut, his first significant snaps in college football. And he had to take on like a Bo Limmer, which was a tough task. He got bodied that whole game. And I was like, man, just this isn't fair because he was a radically different player by the time they got to Indiana, like week 4 or 5. So I was like, this year's gonna kind of be a big testament. Really tell me who he is. And I think he's been really good. I think he's been pretty darn solid. You see, he is a big boy with a nice low center of gravity, plays with good natural leverage. He's able to generate a lot of power with that lower body, and he just keeps his legs moving and driving through contact, which is kind of just great regardless of position. And the dude is just so strong, man. Like, his stack and shed ability is very nice. He can overwhelm blockers with his power. And honestly, first step is kind of surprising. In run defense, he's fairly disciplined, won't leave his assignment. He'll clog the middle of lanes, and he's shown to be able to do a good job once he gets his mitts on ball carriers. Last year he had a 4.3 missed tackle rate. This year it's a little up, but it's 5.9. That's still stellar for the defensive line. But there are some things I do want to see him just get better at. What's keeping me from like moving him higher up my board? I feel like he's on the ground a lot. That he just he wants to be first at the point of attack, and he wants to win that point of attack, and he ends up finding himself on the ground quite a bit, just kind of getting toroed, so to speak. If you don't know what I mean, like matadors, like ha 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 ha. He's like a bull, man. He's just going right through the little red cape. But he's got moderate speed. Won't be a guy that can play sideline to sideline, but 13 defensive stops, pretty impressive. You don't know defensive stop, how PFF defines it, is a basically a tackle that results in essentially no gain or negative gain. So pretty darn solid. Think of like tackles for loss. So think of it like that. But yeah, still got him in this third round area. This is about the area I had him there. So not a lot of movement from a few of those guys. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only $30 by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment, and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet. So send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals. And guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase, and it's a great way to support the channel. But let's go ahead and talk about number 8, Talik Williams out of Ohio State, having a very solid season. Very interesting cat because it's just his body. Like last year, he was reported playing at like 315. Now he's down to 290. So he's kind of jumped around with that. But he's been solid, man. He's just been exceptionally solid. 6 pressures, got a sack, 18 defensive stops. Like honestly, his run defense, his ability to be a 3-down player, it's kind of like what draws me to him. Former 4-star recruit, 2021 class. He's eclipsed his his season high, or formerly season high, in terms of snaps last year. He was a significant rotation player, but only had 251 snaps. He's already at 284 this season. And the dude's got a big frame. He really does. And he's got pretty darn good get off. He can penetrate gaps with his initial burst. Displays pretty quick feet when engaged. Plays with good low pad level. I mean, being 6'2" probably helps out a ton with that. Does a good job of gaining and maintaining leverage. And he is just hard to push off of his spot. Strong core. Plays with good balance. Like I said, exceptionally good run defender. However, he's not the most sudden athlete. There are times where he just kind of gets neutralized, and it's not like he's got crazy good pursuit speed. Kind of wish he could do more with his hands, but it just, honestly, what he does as a run defender kind of like makes up for a lot of the lack of gravitas, I guess, in the passing game. So got him as a third round prospect here. I think he's kind of done what what a lot of people were hoping from like Nazir Stackhouse, who's not having a bad year by any means. It's just I think Williams has shown a little bit more than Stackhouse has thus far this season. At number 7, I got Brandon Dorless out of Oregon, man. Dude had a big game against Washington this past week. He has 19 pressures on the year, 3 sacks, 10 defensive stops. You love to see it. He's been a cat that I've had my eye on for quite some time now. I think was it initially after the 2020 season? Yeah. And then he kind of broke out in the 2021. And like, feels like he's been at Oregon forever, man. I've been waiting for this cat to come out for a long time. Coming in at 6'3", 290. He's a former 3-star recruit from the 2019 class. Didn't see much playing time early on, but had a big increase in snaps in the shortened season of 2020. And then in 2021, he started all 13 games, he started in 13 games, appearing in all 14 games, made first team all Pac-12. And you think, okay, that's it. That guy's, he's out of here. He's moving on. But no, he came back for another year, started all 13 games, made second team all Pac-12. So you're like, okay, yeah, no, this guy's done. But no, he's like, no, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to come back for another year here at Oregon, probably hoping for championship aspirations perhaps. But he's someone who is really, he's added weight, added power to his body. And I mean, those were some things that were already his play strength is kind of already his best quality. It's up there with his motor, man, because he plays with that urgency, he plays with that hustle. He may not be like a first to the party type of pass rusher, but he just grinds out each and every rep. He finishes plays, just plays with so much upper body strength, won't be moved off his spot. He can stack and shed pretty well, tears down ball carriers relatively easy. This year, the missed tackle rate's pretty low at 9.1%, so you love to see it. Just a gritty player all in all, and he has improved so much as a pass rusher every year. He truly has, and he's already been a very successful pass rusher over the course of his career. And it's wild because I think last year he played primarily out on the edge? Yeah, it was last year. He played primarily on the edge, had great success, but the year prior was mainly playing the B gap. This year, they're just moving him all over the place, man. So he brings that versatility you love to see. Just kind of the down things, or the cons, so to speak, about him as a prospect is he's not like the most explosive guy. He's not the twitchiest guy. Is probably why it's like, okay, no, you're probably gonna be a full-time interior player at the next level. There are times he does struggle to like kind of establish leverage and then maintain it. But those were a lot of things I saw when he was playing on the outside. I think he's been phenomenal this season, especially when he's playing on the interior. But it's nice that he has that versatility to him. I could definitely see. I think his best spot maybe like 3-4 end, but I'm gonna kind of keep him as just this versatile DT you can do a lot of things with, because he could probably play like a base 4-3 end. But I think really he's at his best probably if you want to get him closer, not even closer to the ball. But a big fan of Brandon Dorlus, have been for a while. He's here at number 7. At number 6, I got, oh golly, Rook Orohoro. I always want to add another Oro in there, but it's Rook Orohoro. Maybe I missed one, but this dude's having a solid season there for Clemson. Clemson, always a team that has like a deep, team that always kind of has this deep rotation when it comes to their defensive line. And that's kind of the same here. He only has 188 snaps thus far this season, but he's been a starter every game, former 3-star recruit out of the 2019 class. Little interesting fact here. He was born in Nigeria, moved to the US when he was only 9 years old, primarily played basketball in high school and didn't start playing football till his junior year. And he was also a high school wrestler, so that's pretty cool. He did play in 10 games as a freshman, and then in 2020, he played in 4 games, missed a large chunk of the year with a knee injury, so he was like allowed a medical red shirt. And since then, man, he's basically been a full-time starter for the squad. He had 9 starts in 2021, 9 starts in 2022, and he played in every game too, by the way, not just like It's not like, oh, he only had 9 starts because he played in 9 games. But like, no. He was active and he was used heavily in the rotation. This year he has started every game, been pretty solid. 9 pressures, has 8 defensive stops. Keep in mind of just the snap usage. It's not as high as some of the other guys on this list, but this dude's so explosive off the snap, and he's just a very good athlete for the position. He could get skinny when he's trying to shoot gaps. There are times where he meets the running back, like legitimately for the handoff. Like, he had a couple of those last season. His hands stupid powerful. There'll be times where he just stuns blockers on first contact, plays with good leverage. He's just kind of a total nightmare to handle as a for interior offensive players. He's strong, good lower body. He's able to kind of like, he could either go right through you or walk you into the back in the laps of quarterbacks. I think he can deal with double teams fine. Shows good balance. And he, again, a dude that's been used all over the defensive line. He is someone who is still who's still putting it all together, especially when it comes to his hands, how he uses his hands. And yeah, there's some inconsistencies with that, but he's getting more polished in that regard. I do think his anchor in the run game, it's gotten better this year, but man, it kind of just comes and goes, man. It really, really does. So while it's gotten better, I don't think it's enough for me to push him high up this list, but currently got a 2nd round grade on him, coming in at 6'4", 295. Big fan of Rook. I know Alex from Hammer Sports is as well. All right, at number 5, I got Rylie Mills out of Notre Dame, coming in at 6'5", 306. He was a former 4-star recruit from the 2020 class. Also did track and field. Yeah, you hear track and field for a guy that's 300 pounds. It was probably the field portion. He did discus. He did shot put. He arrived in Notre Dame in 2022, where he was, or 2020, excuse me, where he was a rotation player, and basically was a rotation player until 2022, where he he played in all 13 games with 9 starts, and then this season he has started every game for the Irish, and like straight up, man, this cat's he's a winner. Like, he's got one of the more impressive pass rush win rates for the interior, for this interior class in general. Here, I'm just trying to pull him up right now, but the dude is stupid strong. Like, he's got an impressive frame. He has NFL strength. He engages at the point of attack with power and violence. He can knock blockers off of the line of scrimmage. He displays good lateral movement. He can successfully clog run lanes. That's why he's got that 17 number when it comes to defensive stops. Might not have the most elite quicks in the world, but where he wins as a pass rusher is with the non-stop motor and just brute strength. Does have a pretty decent spin move though. With his power and his length, like, he could probably play nose like full time if a team really needs him to. Probably you would have to put on more mass for that, but I mean, I don't see that being a problem. But for a guy who's like, you watch and you're like, man, he could probably still like come together a little bit more as a pass rusher. That you look at it and it's like, yeah, he's not really a finished product in that regard. Again, he is very successful though as a pass rusher because the guy is stupid strong, violent with his hands, and he just goes and gets after it, man. He legitimately does. He does play tall sometimes at 6'5", so I want to see him do a better job of getting low, staying low, and being able to hold on to that leverage. But if we're talking about just like pure win rates, man, he is currently tied for 8th in college football with a 15.9% win rate, and then that number jumps up to 28.3 on true pass sets, which again, it's true pass sets are basically pass sets that aren't influenced by the run game. So we're talking no RPOs, no play actions and such. So that's a very impressive number for a guy, again, who's not complete as a pass rusher sometimes. And for me, he's a dude that's just still consistently moving up my board. I think I currently have him in my top 35 prospects. He's basically a fringe first rounder for me at this point. Probably could end up being a first rounder when it's all said and done, because I do have a couple of questions about some of the next prospects, which I guess we might as well get into at this point. At number 4 is Mason Smith out of LSU, coming in at 6'6", 315, and I think there is, if he doesn't come out this year, it wouldn't surprise me. He hasn't been that productive, but I think a lot of that has to do with how LSU has utilized him quite a bit this year, as he's mainly been the interior guy, but he's also been asked to like kind of play in that like nose tackle, one tech, like just in that vicinity, and they're kind of asking him just to kind of be the space eater. And it's like you can get so much more from him just based on how athletically gifted he is. He's a former 5-star recruit from the 2021 class, started in 4 games his freshman season while playing in 9. And that's kind of where, like, okay, this dude was breaking out. He had 16 pressures, 4 sacks, which is, the more he played, the more dominant. You're like, oh, you can't keep this guy off the field. And then in 2022, in the Florida State game, just 8 plays into his sophomore season, he tore his ACL celebrating, and that just sucked. It just sucks. And I mean, that's such a fluky thing. It's hard to kind of hold that against him, but you got to bring up the ACL injury because he has not looked nearly as explosive as he did back in 2021. I will say that. Even if LSU's not always putting him in optimal positions to win, you just haven't seen that same type of explosiveness. And it just sucks. It's sad. That's why I got a feeling he might end up coming back. But the dude is a freaky athlete at his size. Like, his feet are so much quicker than you would expect. Good frame with great length. Plays with good low pads. Nice power. He can literally forklift guys back into the quarterback. He shows good range, plays the run with a lot of physicality. He's able to drop the anchor there in the middle of the field, or there in the middle of the line, or he can do it out there on the edge. It's just like, man, oh man. Like, for one, I don't think he necessarily plays low enough all the way through. Like, he could start low in a set and slowly work his way, like, to playing tall, which is like, okay, you're giving up the leverage battle at that point, and it's like, it's not the best way to make use of your power, your length, and your explosiveness. But again, that explosiveness has just not nearly been as good this season as it was back in 2021. There are times he can play a bit out of control, find himself out of the play, and I'm kind of hoping the numbers go up with him this year, but I think there's a good chance he might end up returning. Like, I'm probably about to put like Rylie Mills ahead of him. And quite frankly, man, I think Rylie Mills could climb to my interior 3. But at number 3, I got Kris Jenkins out of Michigan, coming in at 6'3", 305. He was someone that I didn't have ranked high because Michigan still listed him at 285, but no, he put on 20 pounds, and now you feel better about him playing there on the interior. But to be fair, like, I don't think his play has been extraordinary the last couple of weeks against these nothing teams, so to speak, or lesser competition games like against Nebraska and Indiana. But he had a strong start to the year, and I'm expecting that to come back around because the guy is a very good football player, former 3-star recruit from the 2020 class. If the name sounds familiar, his father, Kris Jenkins, played 10 years in the NFL, was a 4-time all-pro defensive tackle. I think he mainly played for the Panthers. I can't remember if he played for any other teams at the end of his career, but when it comes to his son really didn't become a starter until 2022. Like, he was starting to get worked into the rotation in 2021, but in 2022, you just couldn't take him off the field because despite, at least last year, despite him being smaller, dude played with a lot of power, and now this season, it's like, okay, cool. He's got the frame, he's got the power. He displays very good footwork, great anchor, shows the ability to recover from, let's say, cut blocks or being put in less than ideal situations. He's just always alive in the play and plays with a big motor, plays with heavy hands. He can legit displace blockers and just strong core, man. You're hardly ever seeing this guy on the ground or being pushed back and waist bending, so to speak. However, the pass rush ability is just not where you want it to be right now. Last season it was at 9%. I believe this year it is, look it up. Last year it was 9% pass rush win rate. This year it's up, but it's not like special. It's only 11.8. So while he's better, it's not like it's extraordinary. And that's why I'm kind of like, I still think he's probably a top 50, but I'm not quite positive he is a first rounder. I'm going to kind of let the season play out a little bit more before I really like pull him out of like my top 25. I think he's in the top 25 area currently for me. But the dude is, but just because of how exceptionally solid he is on the down-to-down basis, especially as a run defender, he's going to go high. He's going to go high. He made Bruce Feldman's Freaks list, I believe, this season. I think he was number one? I think he was number one. So I'm sure his testing numbers are going to be really, really good, and I can't wait to see that. But let's go ahead and get to number two, actually. And it's my boy out of the U, Leonard Taylor III. The U, baby, the U. And he is top 20, and I wish Miami would use this cap more. Because if you go look at his usage, he's only played 161 snaps through 6 games. And a lot of that is because you like to use him more as a pass rusher. Like over like a third to like 40% of, no, it's even bigger than that. Like 2/3? Yeah, it's gonna be about like 2/3 of the time. He's just on the field because it's a passing down. Which, I mean, I don't blame him. You look at this guy's win rate. I believe he is number 2 among defensive interiors with a pass rush win rate of 20.2. And then that shoots up to 27.5 on true pass sets. So an impressive number. However, they're just not asking him to stay on the field to be a run defender a lot, which really, really butters my biscuits. And I don't know if that's a bad thing, but I don't know if that term's a bad thing, but it ruffles my jimmies. Let's go with that. So coming in at 6'3", 305, started every game last year, but again, they kind of play this guy on feels like a pitch count, and I hate that. I hate that so much because this dude's a bulldozer. He moves like a linebacker at 305, and he's got the power. Combines that with the athleticism. Why aren't you playing this cat on the field full time? Like in the snaps you have played him as a run defender, he has not been a detriment. So like I'm confused, and I mean a lot of the times, like early in the season, they were mainly playing him in the A gap, playing him as a nose tackle, and it's like, no man, just play him 3-tech and have him get after it. Like, what are we even doing here? I don't even get it, man. Mario Cristobal. Enough said. Ugh. But pass rush win rate is up from last year. Last year was 19.5. Again, this year it's up to 20.2. So marginal difference, but still, it's one of the better pass rush win rates in the class. And like it's just, you can't really sell me on him as a top 10 pick just solely on the athletic and physical traits. If Miami's hesitant to put him on the field as a run defender. That just kind of ticks me off. Maybe part of that is doesn't always play with great leverage. I guess kind of feels the need to have to stand tall, play tall to see into the backfield. But nah, man, this dude's a phenomenal prospect, and I wish my Hurricanes would utilize him more. Really, really do. But at number 1 should be the unanimous guy in this class. It's Jon Newton out of Illinois. He could be a top 10 pick. I think I actually have him listed as a top 10 pick. Coming in at 6'2", 295. If you're curious, this dude's win rate is up there as well. He is currently tied for 17th with a 14.8% win rate. That shoots up to 26.5 in true passing snaps. But the dude's phenomenal. He plays with his hair on fire, and it just looks even cooler with the braids, with the dreads. He just can shoot into the opposing backfield, plays with a good explosive first step, closes the gap between him and ball carriers exceptionally quickly, attacks with quick hands, he attacks with quick feet. He has among the highest among this defensive interior class in terms of pressure at 25 pressures this season. He's actually also very stout in the run game, and I think that's it's just the cherry on top. It's the pretty bow on the present. It brings the whole thing together and plays with great urgency, plays with a great motor. Does maybe lack ideal length. There are times where he does get washed out of the run game. However, I think those questions are gonna be there when it comes to NFL strength. Can he handle it? And I think he's fine enough in that regard where it's like, I don't think that's a big problem. Won't be the most versatile guy on the line due to his size. I think he's more of a penetrating 3, but I think that's a-okay. I'm not too worried about that. The missed tackles have gone up big time for him this season. Which, if you're going to sell me on him as a consistent run defender, that's not going to help this year with a 25.6 missed tackle rate. As I think last year that was I want to say it was at like 4, because he only missed like 4 tackles all of last year. This year's missed 11. So he's almost tripled that number. But regardless, man, great prospect. 21 defensive stops this year. Again, the dude just gets after it. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the guys who just missed the list, because I know I'm going to see him in the comment section. It's going to be the Texas duo of you got Byron Murphy II and T'Vondre Sweat. To be fair, like I have 3rd round grades on those guys. They just kind of just missed the cut for me. They've been very, very disruptive this season. If you were looking at pass rush win rates, I think Murphy Murphy I think is number 3, and then Sweat's number 1. So their win rates are big this year. But it's like, you look at last year's draft class, you had Moro Ojomo, who I was a big fan of. I think he was in my top 10 interior players, along with his teammate Keandre Coburn. And those guys didn't go until day 3, excuse me. And I'm not saying that Murphy and Sweat are lower on my board because of that, but just something to note, man. Like those were 2 guys that had really good years too, and they ended up sliding down boards. But I again got 3rd round grades on those guys. Same with Michael Hall. I think Michael Hall's been pretty darn solid this season. I do just get concerned with him as a down-to-down run defender. So we'll see about that. I know a lot of people like Mekhi Wingo. I just kind of question his athletic traits and how will that translate at the next level. So I kind of got him as this early day 3 guy. So that's why he's kind of left off the list here. I know I'm going to see some remarks about Rylie Mills' teammate, Howard Cross, and it's just he's kind of a tweener at 6 foot 288. And it's a big reason why he's a little lower down my board, but he's been exceptionally productive this season, and I look forward to seeing more of him. I think it's Devon Van at North or NC State. Just missed my list. I think that was probably the next guy up on my list. Actually, I could go check that real quick. I don't know. It was Byron Murphy that was the next guy up. But Van's not too far behind. He's having a great year. Former wrestler, and he really shows it with just how he wins with his hands. Just good balance. A guy that's been able to win against Christian Haynes, who's going to be a higher, who's going to probably end up being a day 2 guard in this class. But no, this interior class is really good. There's a lot of good players, but like you're going to see a lot of these guys rise up a little bit up the board. Just once other positions start declaring or not declaring. I really do believe that this defensive interior class, while it's not exactly top heavy, there's some good guys up there. But I think in that like round 2, round 3, round 4, even round 5, there's a lot of good players that you can get there. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.